Welcome to Magic English Stories. Today's story, The Mirror in the Screen, explores how social media can affect our lives and the strength it takes to break free. In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, nestled among tree-lined streets and modest homes, lived a teenager named Ethan Miller. At 17, Ethan was like many of his peers, curious, ambitious, and increasingly tethered to the digital world. Each morning began not with the chirping of birds or the aroma of his mother's pancakes, but with the soft glow of his smartphone screen. Notifications from various social media platforms greeted him like old friends, a flood of likes, comments, and messages that dictated his mood for the day. Ethan's initial foray into social media had been innocuous. He joined platforms to stay in touch with friends and family, to share snapshots of his life, and to explore his growing interests in art and photography. For a while, it was fun. He'd post pictures of his sketches, funny moments with friends, or scenic views from hikes with his family. The feedback was encouraging, and each like felt like a warm pat on the back. But gradually, the lines between real life and online life began to blur. It wasn't just about sharing anymore. It became about performing. He started to spend more time thinking about what to post, how to pose, which filter to use, and when to post for maximum engagement. His sketches became less about expression and more about what would garner the most likes. A drawing of a somber self-portrait, meaningful to him, got 30 likes. A quick cartoon with a funny caption got 300. The message was clear, and he adapted accordingly. Ethan's world started to revolve around his phone. At school, he was constantly checking notifications between classes, often risking the ire of teachers. He'd sneak glances during dinner, during family outings, even during movies. It wasn't just about social media anymore. It was about staying updated, being relevant, not missing out. His parents noticed. His mum, Laura, would call him to dinner 3 times before he'd respond. His dad, Greg, tried to engage him in conversations about current events or his future, only to receive one-word answers or distracted nods. His younger sister, Molly, barely got his attention when she tried to show him her new drawings. Ethan was present in body but absent in spirit. His grades began to slip. Once an A student with aspirations of attending an Ivy League college, he now barely managed C's. Homework was often rushed, assignments missed, and group projects neglected. His teachers noted the change and called home. Ethan shrugged it off. "I'm just stressed," he'd say. But the truth was, he no longer had the attention span for deep work. Reading more than a paragraph felt exhausting. His mind constantly craved the quick dopamine hits from scrolling. Friends noticed too. Jake, his childhood best friend, tried to reach out. "Man, you never hang out anymore. You're always on your phone. Remember when we used to bike around the lake?" Ethan would laugh it off. "Things change, bro. Everyone's online now." But Jake wasn't convinced. Late at night, Ethan would lie in bed scrolling for hours. Influencers with perfect lives, luxury cars, flawless skin, romantic vacations. He began to compare himself constantly. Why wasn't his life like that? What was he doing wrong? He knew, logically, that most of it was curated or fake, but emotionally it still stung. He began to feel inadequate, anxious and depressed. The tension at home reached a boiling point. One night during dinner, his father snapped, "Put that damn phone down and look at us when we're talking to you." Ethan, startled, looked up. "I was just checking something. Chill." "Don't tell me to chill. This is the 5th dinner in a row you've spent glued to that screen. It's like you don't even live here anymore." His mom interjected softly. "We're worried about you, Ethan." "I'm fine," he lied. His parents grounded him for a week. No phone, no internet. At first, he was furious. He paced his room, itching to check updates. He felt disconnected, like the world was moving on without him. The first 2 days were agony. But on the 3rd day, something shifted. He picked up an old sketch pad and began to draw. At first, it felt awkward, like using a muscle long dormant. But as the pencil glided across the paper, a sense of calm washed over him. He drew for hours, losing himself in the strokes and shades. For the first time in months, he felt truly present. When the grounding ended, Ethan returned to his phone. But something had changed. The endless scrolling now felt hollow. He began to observe more than engage. He noticed the repetition, the artificiality, the performative nature of it all. Everyone was trying to outshine everyone else, to project an image rather than share reality. He started spending more time offline. He reconnected with Jake, apologized for pulling away, and they resumed their weekend bike rides. He volunteered to help Molly with her school art project and discovered she had real talent. He began journaling about his feelings and thoughts, trying to understand the emotional roller coaster he had been on. One evening, he stumbled across an online forum discussing digital addiction. He read story after story of people just like him, students, professionals, even parents, who had lost themselves in the digital mirror. It was comforting to know he wasn't alone, and empowering to see others reclaiming their lives. Ethan decided to take control. He deleted all but one social media app, set screen time limits, and created phone-free zones in his life. The dinner table, his bedroom, and study hours. He also started attending a local support group for teens dealing with tech dependency. There, he met people like Claire, a bright girl who had struggled with online bullying, and Marcus, a gamer who had nearly flunked out of school. Their stories were different, but the underlying issues were the same. A world so connected, it left them feeling isolated. Together, they worked on strategies to rebuild their attention spans, self-worth, and offline lives. They organized tech-free weekends, group hikes, and community service projects. Slowly, the grip of the digital world loosened. Ethan's grades improved. He rediscovered his love for learning, especially art and psychology. He started a blog about digital wellness, sharing his journey and tips. Surprisingly, it gained traction, not because of flashy images, but because it was real. Senior year arrived, and with it came college applications, final exams, and farewells. Ethan had transformed. His guidance counselor, Ms. Reynolds, commented, "You seem more grounded, Ethan. Whatever you're doing, keep it up." He applied to several art schools, showcasing a portfolio rich with emotion and story. One piece, titled "The Mirror in the Screen," depicted a boy staring into a glowing phone, his reflection fragmented and fading. It moved viewers and earned him a scholarship. Social media was still part of his life, but no longer the center. He used it sparingly, purposefully. His friendships were stronger, his family closer, his mind clearer. College brought new challenges, but Ethan was better equipped. He started a campus initiative promoting digital wellness, giving talks, hosting workshops, and mentoring freshmen. He stayed in touch with Claire, Marcus, and others from the group, supporting each other as they navigated adulthood. Years later, standing in a packed auditorium, Ethan delivered a TED-style talk titled "The Mirror in the Screen." He spoke not just of addiction, but of recovery, resilience, and the power of human connection. The audience applauded, not because he was viral, but because he was real. And somewhere in the crowd, a teen, phone in hand, looked up and saw himself. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart or made you think, please like, comment, and share it with someone who might need it. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring English stories that help you learn while enjoying. Until next, time, stay mindful, stay kind.